Hey friends, my name is Joey and welcome back to my channel, Gender Not Found. Um, I'm tired and so I want to tell you guys that I'm gonna try and do a bunch of recordings today and upload them. I might not get them all up, but I'm gonna get as much as I can up and I'm gonna be recording for several hours and then I'm gonna split it up into a few videos and then I'm gonna try and get as much as I can up because I'm probably not gonna have my computer for a couple of days. Because I have to take it to the shop. Because remember, hang on. Um, just remember I told you guys that remember I told you guys that I was having issues with my computer, so I asked my mom to call the shop and see if they can fix it. We have a computer place that I've taken my computer to there like 1,000 times before, and so they can tell me if they can fix it or not, or if I need a new computer. So either I'm gonna have my computer over the next couple days, and I'm just gonna be getting a new one, or I'm not gonna have my computer for a couple of days because they're gonna be fixing it. I don't know how long it's gonna take to fix. I think the most they've had it for is like 2 or 3 days, so it's not gonna be that long. It's only gonna be a couple of days, but I just wanted to let you guys know that I might not have my computer for at least a day or two due to it being fixed. But regardless of that, I'm gonna try and get what I can up today, and I'm gonna try and do a lot longer and more recordings than I would usually due to it not being around for a couple of days. And then I'll try and do some extra recordings later once I get my computer back. I'm not sure first of all if I'm gonna be taking it in, and second of all how long they're gonna hold on to it for. Like honestly, at this point, I'm kind of hoping that my computer is just broken and I can get a new one because this is exhausting to deal with and stressful to deal with. And I just want a new computer. I just want to get it over with and not worry about it anymore. I also don't want to deal with not having it for a couple of days because I'm trying to get videos up every day. And hang on, I'm gonna text my mom and ask her if she called the computer place. Be right back. Okay, I just texted my mom to let her know what the computer to to let me know what the computer place says. Oh, by the way, my glasses are fixed. They took the arms off of my glasses and replaced them with new arms. So, it's the same brand and everything. It's just a little bit of a different color, so they're not purple anymore. They're different now. So, but it's working for me and until I have the optometrist appointment in like a month. So, whatever. Good enough until I can get to the optometrist. Anyway, um, so I'm gonna try and I'm gonna try and read something now. I think I want to start with trying to impress Matt. So let's read that. Hang on. I gotta load first. No. Ugh, I don't want to though. How do I? No, go away. I don't. What the heck? Okay, hang on, guys. I gotta figure this crap out. Okay, I'm back. I just had a chat with my mom. Well, over text. I just had a text with my mom. We texted and she's gonna take a look at it because she found some troubleshooting stuff the other night. And she's gonna see what she can do, and then if she can't do anything, then we'll take it into PC Corner to fix it. So there's a good chance I'm not gonna have my computer for the next day or two. Wait, I have a thing with Carrie Ann on Wednesday. How am I gonna do that? But anyway, so I'm gonna talk to my mom about that as well. But if we take it to PC Corner, then I will let you guys know what happens. But either way, if I don't upload for a couple of days, my computer's probably in the shop, and I'll tell you about it when I get back. But just expect that, expect that I'm gonna have it in the shop for a couple of days, so it's gonna be getting fixed, and so I'm not gonna be able to upload stuff. Anyway, trying to impress Matt, because I figured it out. It wouldn't. It kept having this freaking login pop-up screen until I freaking logged in, and I kept trying to log in with Google and it wouldn't let me, so I finally freaking logged in. Stupid thing. Anyway, oh, this is chapter 5, I think. Yeah, chapter 5. I kind of wish I listened to my dad when he told me that sitting in the proceedings was going to be boring. It's not like the movies where there's always something to watch out for. In reality, it's just really posh, arrogant bastards that look like they were asleep more time than defending and or prosecuting the prosecutor or defendant, depending on which way you look at it. I'm not always sitting in the same case as my father, but at least with his presence there, it is kind of bearable. And everyone looks at you like they are better than you. Oh, how I wish they knew I was the judge's daughter. At the moment, I'm sitting in a petty case where the defendant attempted to steal money from a local corner shop. He just turned 18 by the looks of it, seeing as his trial is being held in a criminal court, and he has a tattoo on the back of his neck. I knew it led elsewhere, but he was wearing a closed-in black suit, which stopped wandering eyes from seeing where it led. My client would like to say something before you make a decision, his lawyer stated, waiting for the judge to nod her head. I liked this judge. She seemed to be a good character of judgment and made really well formed decisions. I'm inclined to hear what Mr. Cooper has to say, she responded shortly after, which in turn caused his lawyer to sit down. I could tell his lawyer was giving some sort of lecture prep talk pep talk, but it didn't last too long. Well, at least something interesting is going to come out of this case. I would just like to say that if you could look at my mitigating circumstances, you could understand why I did what I did. Also, I wasn't going to steal everything in the register. I was just going to borrow a few bucks to buy a meal to eat. Soon enough, I would have returned the cash I borrowed and left the shop. He sat down then, saying something to his lawyer while the judge nodded her head. Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Would everyone please leave the proceeding court while I converse with the lawyers and come up with a decision? The judge asked, making everyone, including myself, stand up and walk out of the room. Well, that was an interesting case. I wonder what punishment she's going to give him. All of a sudden, I felt my phone vibrate violently in my bag, which caused a few bystanders to look at me with disgust. With disgust. Oh gosh, it's just a phone. Geez, don't have to look at me like that, I thought angrily, pushing my way past these people and into the nearest bathroom. I quickly found my phone and answered it without looking who was calling on the screen. What? I asked quietly, though I don't think anyone was in the bathroom right now. Bad time? Joe said, sounding highly amused. As a matter of fact, it is. Do you know how many people gave me looks of pure hatred for having my phone on vibrate? I asked, though I was calming down a bit. While you're at the courts, it's filled with arrogant people. Listen, sis, I need a favor. Oh no, what did he do now? No, I stated simply, plopping my bag on the counter and pulling out an eyeliner to fix my makeup. But you didn't even hear what it is yet. I could hear him getting angry, which brought a smile to my face. I don't care, I responded flatly, putting him on speaker while I continued to fix my makeup. You're such a bitch. Just then, two elderly ladies walked in, and I thought I was going to die. If I thought the looks I was receiving earlier today were bad, I don't know what these looks were. I felt so humiliated and embarrassed. Ah, Joe, just message me what you want me to do. I gotta go. I pushed the end button on my phone and put it in my bag, quickly moving out of the way so I could get out to the bathroom. Today is just not my day. I quickly walked around the building. Wait. I quickly walked around the building, not really knowing where I was going. While taking out my phone that was in my bag, I saw that I had one new text, so I opened it quickly. Could you please pick up Matt from school and take him to the pub? Take Dad's car, he won't care. Is he freaking serious? I sent him a text back asking him why he couldn't pick him up, but as soon as I went to read his reply, I ran into something, or rather someone. I'm so sorry, I wasn't looking where I was going. I apologized, looking into a pair of dark blue eyes. Hmm? I'm so sorry. I wasn't looking where I was going. I apologized, looking into a pair of dark blue eyes. I noticed they belonged to the same guy who was being tried earlier. He was actually really handsome up close, but I knew he was a bad boy, so I should just try and stay out of his way. It's okay, I get it. A cute girl texting her boyfriend and didn't notice where she was going. He smirked slightly, which caused me to blush slightly. Actually, I was texting my brother, I stated smugly, causing him to smirk wider. I nodded my head slightly, walking away from him, but that didn't last too long. So, where you off to? He asked, joining my side as we somehow continued to walk towards my father's courtroom together. It isn't any of your business, so if you don't mind, I motioned for him to move out of my way while I entered my dad's room. He didn't seem to be busy, but when he noticed me, he motioned for me to wait a while. In the meantime, I looked at my phone and realized that Joe never responded to my text. He is such an idiot, and he owes me big. You looking for him? The same guy asked from behind me, nodding his head in my father's direction. Are you following me? I asked him back, not even bothering to answer his question. No, I'm just bored, and like I said earlier, you're cute, so I'm just getting to know you a bit better. Okay, this guy's officially creepy. Why don't you go back to your court case and listen to what punishment you're going to receive? I spat bitterly. He chuckled softly, which caused the hairs on the back of my neck to stand on edge. I already received my punishment, he said it in such a carefree tone that I was speechless. Relax, darling. I only received 5 months of community service, helping some loser kids sing at some rich preppy school. I stood very still, trying not to listen to him while waiting very patiently for my dad to call me over. Oh, I get it. You're one of those preppy girls, aren't you? He asked funnily. Finally, my dad motioned me over, which I was only too happy to do. What's wrong? He asked, a frown forming on his face. I need your car for about an hour. I waited patiently for him to hand me his keys, but he didn't. Think of it as an early break. I whispered loud enough for him to hear me only. Okay, but be back in an hour. Call me if something happens. I nodded my head and then he gave me his keys. Oh, and Rain? Good job at ignoring that delinquent. I smiled proudly, but then I ran off to the elevator, but not before Mr. Cooper decided to beat me first. Oh, if it isn't Mrs. Preppy herself, he smirked as I glared. Such a cute face to be wasted on frowns. I rolled my eyes, waiting for the elevator doors to open. Could you just go home? I asked bitterly. It's not like you're waiting around to be heard in another case, are you? I asked it seriously, because you don't know how many repetitive offenders I've had to see over the last week. No, I'm not waiting around to settle another case, he stated, while I sighed deeply. Finally, the elevator's doors opened, which I gladly stepped in, only to find out that he stepped in with me. What floor are you off to? He asked. Underground, I said harshly. Shit, I guess I need to walk you to your car then, miss, he asked, but I ignored him. However, he smiled wickedly. Well then, wouldn't want a cute girl like you walking alone in some underground car park. I froze slightly. Was he some serial killer or rapist? I pretended to get my phone out of my bag, but really I got out my eyeliner stick and kept it in my hand. As soon as the elevator doors opened, I quickly walked out because I knew he was going to follow after me. I dropped the stick to the floor, hoping he would trip over it. It worked. I heard him grunt, which caused me to continue to run towards my dad's car. I unlocked it quickly, starting up the car, and then I locked the car from the inside as soon as I secured myself in the car. As fast as I could, I put the car in drive and sped off toward the exit, but I noticed a little bit of blood spatter on the road as I passed the elevator. Shit, I whispered, feeling totally responsible. I hope he's okay, even though he is creepy. I continued to drive out of the complex and onto the main road, following signs that led towards my school to pick up Matt. I swear Joe owes me for this. After driving for about 15 minutes, I finally parked in the student parking lot, but stayed in the car to check out how I looked. My hair was pulled up in a ponytail, but I didn't like it, so I took it out. It flowed past my shoulders in waves, and I liked it better that way. My makeup seemed fine, but I reapplied clear lip gloss, just because I wanted to look good for Matt, even though I know it's completely useless. Walking out of the car, I noticed that many of the seniors were walking out of the school to go home. It's about 2 o'clock, so most of them get to leave because they have a free period. I knew Matt had football practice, but he should be just about finished, so I made my way over to the gym. Once I got closer to the gym, I noticed the halls were vastly quiet. I received some strange looks from a few students, but they ignored me or moved out of my way. Once I was outside the doors to the gym, I opened it quietly, but because all the boys were sitting down on the floor listening to Coach Butler, it actually sounded quite loud, causing all the boys, including the coach, to look my way. I blushed profusely and nodded my head slightly. Rain, what are you doing here? The coach asked as I noticed most of the guys checking me out. Shit, I forgot I was in a black skirt and white top, which definitely outlined my body fairly well. I'm just waiting for Matt because I'm his ride after he's finished here. I heard most of the guys say some catty remarks, some even going as far to whistle, which caused me to blush a little. Well, just sit over on that seat. The coach pointed to a chair which was leaned against the wall, adjacent to him. I nodded my head, walking in the direction of the chair, while the loud sound of my heels clicked away until I sat down carefully on the chair, willing my skirt not to rise any higher so the boys don't get a good view. Once again, Joe owes me one. My eyes are up here, not down Rain's skirt, the coach yelled, causing the guys to swiftly move their hideous stares from me to the coach. I smirked slightly, but it only increased when I saw that Matt was still staring at my legs. I like that plan, someone said, causing a few of the others to agree with him. Well then, it's final. Get up, boys, and go take a shower. I'm surprised Rain didn't leave because you guys smell disgusting. I laughed along with the coach, and some of the boys growled towards us. Oh, relax. You guys still have a chance with you after your showers. Ain't that right, Rain? I saw the old man wink in my direction, which caused me to smile. A girl does love a guy that smells nice, I quipped. I looked around the room, spotting Matt's eyes instantly, and he smirked at me. I turned scarlet as my heart raced a little bit, so I diverted my gaze away from him and onto some of the other jocks who were winking at me. All right, boys, go take your showers. One by one, the boys walked into the locker room to take their showers. I spoke to the coach for a while, helping him pack away some of the sports equipment, and eventually I listened into his game plan for the boys. It was really smart, but I couldn't help but think that something even more genius could work. Nonetheless, I kept my mouth shut and nodded when he looked at me. Let's go, Matt whispered from behind me. Why does he always do that for? Doesn't he know that when he whispers against my neck, it makes me go totally insane? Of course doesn't. Sorry, coach, we gotta go now. Good luck with the game plan. He smiled broadly at Matt and then I left with Matt. Honestly, what do you really think of the game plan? Matt asked, walking by my side to my dad's car. It's great, I said enthusiastically, causing Matt to roll his eyes at me. Honestly? He asked while I unlocked my dad's car. When we both settled in our seats, I started the car and drove out of the school. Why do you care? I asked, changing lanes quickly because the guy in front of us was driving like an old grandma. I don't know. I just want to know what you really think of it, he said and smiled. Well, I was just thinking about this YouTube video the other day where a guy literally walked past the opposing team, then sprinted the rest of the way towards the goal and scored. I don't know if it's a legal move, but it could totally work, I said really quickly. Really? You gotta show me that video, because if it's a real legal move, that could work just as good as Coach's plan. I just nodded my head, scrunching up my face in confusion as I lost my direction. Shit, I whispered. What's wrong? Matt asked. I don't know where I'm going. Do you know how to get to the pub? I asked. Yeah, just take a left turn at the lights in the second street on the right. I nodded my head and followed his direction. Did Joe tell you to take me here? He asked. Yep, and he owes me big. I smiled happily as I thought about all the things he could do to owe me. I might have to call Leah to help me on that. I parked the car easily on the side of the curb, waiting for Matt to say bye or something. She won't do a pregnancy test, he told me eventually. She's not pregnant, Matt. I overheard a couple of the cheerleaders saying that Holly is going to be working as a model in a few months. How many models do they let in that are pregnant? I rhetorically asked. He seemed to be taking in all the information I told him, so I turned off the car. It's going to waste too much petrol anyway. But she could still be. Look, Matt, she is a freaking cheerleader. The last thing she needs is a baby to ruin her position at the top. Trust me when I say that she will get rid of the baby if she is pregnant. I know that I am being harsh right now, but I didn't want him to think that he made a kid with another woman. I know I have issues and I will deal with them eventually. Okay, Rain, I trust that you're right. He smiled at me and then gave me a side hug, which was kind of awkward, but I melted into his arm anyways. Thanks. You seem to be thanking me a lot these days, I teased, which caused him to ruffle my hair. Okay, so not the reaction I was looking for. I'll catch you later, he said, removing his hands from my shoulders and opening the handle for the door. I watched him leave until he entered the pub, and then I sighed dramatically. I really needed him to find me more attractive. That was fun. Alright, I'll be right back with another chapter. Okay, we're on to chapter 6 now. Hang on, I'm just gonna jump right in. Chapter 6. By the looks of the by the looks of the report your dad handed in to me, it seems like you did an excellent job working in the courts with him. Did you want to take after his footsteps? Mrs. Holton asked me as I walked into legal studies, holding my bag on my left shoulder and my books in my right hand. I enjoyed myself, but it was a bit boring at times. I could tell Mrs. Holton the truth. She and my dad used to work together, so I kind of grew up with her. But there was this weird guy who was there who kind of rubbed me the wrong way. She frowned, but nodded her head knowingly. A defendant, right? When I nodded my head, she continued. Hopefully his punishment will rehabilitate him. Didn't sound like he cared about his punishment. Just then, a number of students walked into the classroom, so I smiled to Mrs. Holton and sat down in my seat. Class seemed to drag by slowly, so I was thankful when the bell rang, signaling the end of day. Usually I would try to bug Joe into giving me a ride home, but I had choir practice until 4 p.m.
No.
Nothing major happened in choir, only that Mr. Corey told us that we will be expecting a new and talented singer to join our choir in a few weeks. I wasn't overly excited, but some of the girls were starting to bitch about whether or not the new singer was going to be better than them and blah blah blah. After after choir practice, I did manage to ask a quiet girl for a ride home. I felt bad, but she and I only lived 2 minutes away from each other, driving, that is, so she didn't put up too much of a fight when I asked. Once I got home, I headed upstairs to my room. I knew my dad wasn't going to be home tonight as he sent me a text earlier saying he was working on a huge case, so he was going to be delayed at the courts. I didn't really care, but I knew he didn't want anything bad to happen, like, I don't know, throwing a party again. For some reason, I felt like I hadn't seen Leah in ages, so I called her to come over. She managed to take about an hour before she got here, in which time I was doing homework and screaming at Joe and his new girl to keep it quiet. That only resulted in them screaming louder. Ew. What took you so long? I demanded as we made our way to my room. I slammed it shut, obviously showing her that I was pissed off and sighed dramatically. Before you go apeshit on me, I went to the hair warehouse in Pitt Street and bought color and hair extensions for both of us. She smiled triumphantly while I smiled. You sure do know how to turn this angry girl into a happy one, I quipped. And fairly quickly, too. All right, girl, I'll go get everything ready. You can do my hair first, then I'll do yours. I nodded my head, opening up my bedside drawers to get us some of my previous hair dye tops and threw one at her. I don't want us ruining these tops, too. She nodded her head as we took our tops off and quickly put on the older tops instead. Okay, give me 10 minutes to mix my color. In the meantime, go make sure you lock the bathroom so we get first dibs. After locking the door, keeping the bathroom keys in my hands, I went back in my room, only to smell high levels of dioxide and bleach chemicals. So she's dyeing her hair white blonde. Nice. I wonder what color I should go. Maybe we should both go blonde. Let's get this show on the road, Leah stated, bringing me out of my little fantasy of what I would look like as a white blonde. After about 3 hours of doing each other's hair, slipping in the extensions after we washed and blow dried our hair, our look was complete. Well, minus the makeup and clothes, but that's for another day. Leah looked like an angel goddess, with her long, flowy white golden hair framing her gorgeous face, and finally giving her green eyes a new glow. I stood next to her, though I looked completely different than her. Apparently, Leah bought the wrong hair dye, so I had long black hair. We had to dye the extensions, too, but I actually liked my hair. I thought it brightened my blue eyes, but I knew for a fact it enhanced my pale skin. Tomorrow after school, we should get a tan if it's hot, I heard myself say, though I was looking at my reflection say that. I think a darker tan would be just what I need. Maybe it will allow Matt to see me in a different light. Who knows? I'm down. Hey, let's get dressed and go out to celebrate our new looks. Leah sounded really excited, and I was in the mood to go out as well. Okay, but where are we going to go on a Thursday night? She seemed to think about it for a while until something lit in that cute little head of hers. Well, I heard Helen talking about an exclusive party tonight. It's at her cousin's house on George Street, and all we need to do is dress in white and tell them that we're with her. I liked the idea of going to an exclusive party, but going to Helen's cousin's house sounded really weird to me. I didn't know her cousin either. What if something bad was going to happen? Fine, but I want Joe to come too. She rolled her eyes but didn't object. Fine, go ask him while I search your closet for something to wear for both of us. I nodded my head and made my way to Joe's room. I knocked on the door 3 times, each getting progressively louder so I could give him enough warning if he wasn't decent. Joe, I'm coming in. I need to ask you something. I barged right in and saw that Joe was lying on his crumbled bed with only his boxers on. Oh God, he needed a shower to clean off his sex smell. Why, hello, little sister. What brings you to my sanctuary this fine evening? I could hear a girl giggling from beneath the covers, so I smiled sweetly. Well, I stalled, I stalled by walking closer to his bed, and then I ripped the blankets off, making the naked girl fall to the floor. Bitch! She screamed, trying to hide her naked flesh from me. Anyway, Joe, I need a favor, and you owe me one for Matt. He smirked at the girl who was still on the floor, then made eye contact with me. What do you want? He asked curiously. I want you to escort Leah and myself to a party tonight. I looked at the girl on the floor and noticed that she wasn't making any attempt to move or get dressed. Fine, give me the details when we leave in an hour. I then looked at the girl and back at him, in which he smiled slightly. Still got an hour left in you, babe? The girl smiled, which made me choke back some nasty things that I could say. 45 minutes, Joe. I proceeded to walk out of my room until he called out my name. Yeah? I asked, my hand staying by my side in a closed fist. Did you do something to your hair? He asked, looking at me a bit differently. Yeah, Leah dyed it black. Do you like it? He seemed to frown at it for a bit, then shook his head to get rid of some disturbing thoughts in his head. It's nice, he eventually said, then turned his attention to the girl on the floor. I took this as my cue to leave, but not before he screamed his time limit. Leah laughed against the loud music, surprising the hell out of me. I turned to face her with a questioning look on my face. When we seemed to calm down, she whispered that she never thought she could get us in. It was just pure luck on our part. I really wanted to be angry at her, but now that I'm here, showing off my new look in my killer heels and an off-the-shoulder white dress, I could care less. Do I really need to stay with you guys? Joe asked impatiently, and I glared at him. Do you want us to get raped? I asked dramatically. He rolled his eyes at my elaborateness. Well, if you don't want to get raped, why did you want to come? He asked me back, winking at a girl who walked by. Because I just did, I eventually responded back. Just keep an eye on us. He nodded his head while Leah dragged me to the kitchen and got us a drink each. After a while, I could start to feel the effects of the alcohol taking over as I started to dance to the rhythm of the music. Leah and I were pretty much dancing together, and I could tell we had a crowd around us, but I didn't want to look at them. For some reason, I just felt like letting loose, even though I knew my brother was here somewhere. Leah, sensing my newfound confidence, grabbed my waist and began to grind against me. I heard some of the girls gasp and the guys trying to join us. I didn't really care though, because I actually was having a great time. After a while, Joe found us and grabbed us both by the waists. He didn't waste any time taking us outside where it was freezing cold. Why are you ruining our fun? Leah asked stubbornly. You two are lucky I'm here. I don't care how you act, Leah, but no way in hell am I letting my sister do that again. I rolled my eyes and start to laugh a little. I think I'm a bit drunk. Haha, watch what I'm going to show my mates. I hear Joe say as I start to sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. After I finish singing, I hear both Joe and Leah uncontrollably. I laugh with them too, but then I feel sad. Why are we laughing? I ask, feeling a slight headache forming. You sang a children's lullaby and I video recorded it. I could hardly register what he was saying because all of a sudden I felt something stir in the pits of my stomach before rising up my throat and being released out of my mouth. Ew, was the last thing I heard before I felt the same sensation rising up in my throat again. Alright, I'll be back with one more chapter and then I'm gonna put all 3 of these into a video and edit it, and I'm gonna record some more stuff. I'm gonna record a couple chapters of A Guardian Angel and maybe try and do something else. I don't know. I'll see. Okay, I took a short break and now I'm back, so let's read another chapter of Trying to Impress Matt. Hang on a sec. What just happened? Sorry, guys, hang on. Okay, there we go. Okay, next, uh, chapter 7. Walking past my room to Joe's, my heart began to race incredibly fast. I didn't want to face him just yet, but I guess I have to face up to this sooner rather than later. Joe, it's me! I screamed outside his room, though the loud blaring of his music probably drowned my voice. Once again I screamed and I knocked on his door, but he didn't respond. Frustrated more than nervous, I opened the door then slammed it shut, gaining the attention of Joe and Matt. Yes, sis? Joe asked, looking at me impatiently. Getting straight to the point, I told him what I wanted him to do. I need you to delete that I need you to delete that video that contains me singing like an idiot off of Facebook. Gosh, that was such an embarrassing video, and I couldn't believe that that's how I act when I'm drunk. I should never ever drink again. I agree. No can do, sis. Apparently I'm under suspicion for offensive language or some shit, and now I don't have access to my Facebook. He looked happy about that. What do you mean you can't access your Facebook? I all but yelled. He laughed at my outburst, which caused me to get mad. Stop laughing, you idiot. Do you realize how many people have come up to me and asked me to sing for them? Like, the whole student body. It is so embarrassing to walk down the hallways at school and get mocked for being drunk. I kept my rant up until Joe stopped laughing. I then looked at Matt, who was trying to suppress his laughter, though he had a huge smirk on his face. And why are you looking at me like that? Joe, tell Matt to turn around and do something productive. Okay, I really sound like a psycho right now. It's just that I'm really embarrassed about this video. No one but Joe and my dad knew about my singing, and now the whole of the student body knew. Matt, please disregard everything my sister has said to you. She suffers from schizophrenia and paranoia. Joe put his hands up as a way to symbolize that he is harmless towards me, and in response, I threw a pile of clothes that was on the floor next to me at his retreating body. Shit! Matt, help me! Joe ordered to Matt as he grabbed a pen and threw it back at me. A pen? Really? I asked as I looked around his room, trying to find a weapon to use against two fully grown boys. I noticed a pillow on his floor and picked it up, holding it against my chest. A pillow? Really? Joe mocked back as both him and Matt began to creep towards me. I knew they were trying to block me, and I knew it worked. And I knew it worked when I took a step back and felt my whole body hit the door. Stay where you are, and I won't hit you guys with the pillow. Okay, I knew it was a really bad threat, but it was the only thing I had on me. They looked at each other, then turned back to me and smoked deeply. Rain, rain, rain. What to do with you? Joe taunts as he takes a step closer. I clutch the pillow in my hands and position my knee so I can hit him where it hurts. But he saw what I was going to do and sidestepped me. Stay away from me! I screamed, but it only caused them to take another step towards me. Damn, they were now like one step away from me. I'll scream that rape, and then the old lady across the street will have no choice but to. I was cut off when Matt grabbed my waist and began to tickle me. I laughed out loud, telling him to stop, but he shook his head. Matt, please, stop! Matt continued to tickle her while I searched her room for something to use against her, Joe commanded while I whimpered loudly. Stop tickling me, Matt, I whispered since I was beginning to become out of breath. Make me, he responds, grabbing both of my hands in one of his hands and continuing to tickle my waist in his other. I pretended to be in pain by crying out that he was hurting me, which made him let go of me. I used the free moments of freedom to check my uninjured hands, then tackled him when he least expected it. Shit, woman! He yelled, looking shocked as I straddled him and began to tickle his sides. He definitely wasn't ticklish there, so I tried to tickle under his arm. That got a reaction from him. So that's where he was ticklish. I laughed when I saw him squirming against me. Who knew a big boy like you was ticklish? I mock as I begin to tickle him harder. Joe, hurry up! Matt screamed, causing me to laugh louder. It was an evil laugh which made me look like I'm a psycho. For some reason, I forgot all about my big attraction with Matt as we were laughing together, me on top of him, tickling him like crazy. I felt him trap my hands underneath his arms when he had enough, and I couldn't pull them out from his lock. I saw the competitiveness in his eyes, which made him look gorgeous. I bet you can't tickle me now, he smirked, making me tremble slightly. I didn't answer him. Instead, I leaned down slowly, watching him look at my face in curiosity, then eventually looking down towards the top of my breasts, which were showing on display. I saw him swallow, then look up at me again. I could see something happening to him as I leaned further down, exposing more of myself. I could hear and see his uneven breathing, which caused me to smile inside. Well, damn, if that's all that it takes to impress Matt, then hell, I should have started acting this way years ago. Rain? He whispered, looking at me quizzically as my mouth neared his beautiful thick lips. Mm, was my smart response as I tenderly grazed my lips against his. I took note of how he loosened his hold on my hands and used his great big hands to grab onto my hips. I took the opportunity to tickle under his arm again until he squirmed beneath me again. I bet I can tickle you whenever and wherever I want, I whispered huskily, smirking at his shocked expression. Rain, stop tickling me, he yelled, causing me to laugh out loud. Looks like the tables have turned, Maddie, I remarked, tickling up his arm and under his ear. I could feel his chest grumbling from uncontrolled laughter, and I smiled at the thought that I could make him laugh this hard. Not so fast, he challenges, grabbing onto my hips and lifting me off of him. I fall on my ass, laughing hysterically as he grabs onto my hips again and throws me on top of his shoulders. I hit his backside a few times, earning a whole lot of chuckling from him, until I hear him opening the door and walking down the hallway. Wait, where are you taking me? I scream as I hit his back and try to kick his stomach. He doesn't even flinch at my strong attempts at hurting him. Joe! Matt screams, causing me to redden in the face. In Wayne's room, he screams back, causing him to turn right and enter my room. Dude, why is my sister hanging off of your shoulders? He questions Matt. She asked for it, he responds, earning a few kicks and punches from me. Dude, control her, Joe snickers, causing me to grow angrier and angrier. Okay, Matt, put me down now, I commanded nicely. No, I like the view I got right now. I blush profusely, even though he can't see me. Ouch! Matt complains as he loses his balance, making me fall onto my bed. I straighten myself up, watching Matt and Joe look at each other angrily. That's for trying to flirt with my sister, Joe says, looking pretty pissed off right at the moment. Chill, dude, I was just joking, Matt says, causing my heart to wrench. Do you have passwords on everything? Joe asks, changing the subject very quickly, though he still looks slightly frustrated. Yeah, I do. You have a problem with that? I ask right back. I really should thank Leah for telling me to put a password on my computer and mobile phone. Of course I do. Now I got nothing on you, you freaking nerd. I didn't even get angry at his last remark. I was still kind of hurt from how Matt couldn't see me as something a little bit more than his friend's little sister. You still have that video of me, and you know I didn't want anybody to know about my singing. I could see his eyes softening a little, and I tried to use it to my advantage. Just leave me alone right now. I could see him trying to say something, but Matt stepped in. Look, mate, maybe you should leave and I'll stay and talk with her. I could see Joe weighing the pros and cons of leaving his best friend with his little sister. But after a while, I guess he felt more guilty about posting the video than he left with a that he left with a strict look towards Matt. Obviously, it was a look that told Matt to keep his hands off of me or else. You can leave too, Matt. I looked down at my hands, half afraid that he would leave, half afraid that he would stay. Not before I ask you one thing. I relented by looking up and cocking an eyebrow at him. Why don't you want people to know that you sing? Long story, Matt, and I'm sure you would rather hang out with Joe than listen to it. I saw him shake his head, which caused me to look at him in confusion. No way, Wayne. I want to know why, because you have an amazing voice. I looked at him like he was crazy. And you got that from a video that showed me singing a children's lullaby drunk? I asked him, getting out of my bed and sitting on the chair next to my desk. No, I got that from hearing you sing when you're in the kitchen cooking food for me and Joe, and when you're in the shower not realizing you're singing as loud as us boys watching the football game. I saw him staring at me intensely, which caused me to blush bright scarlet. You heard me singing? I asked him incredulously. I've heard you singing for years, but I didn't say anything because I didn't want you to stop. I widened my eyes at this revelation as my heart stammered in my chest. This was the nicest thing anyone has ever said to me. I smiled brightly. Just then, I heard Joe screaming from the other side of the door, telling us he is coming in. Matt, we got us some dates. Let's get ready. I could see Joe looking from Matt to me, making sure we weren't doing anything wrong. The fact that we were a few meters apart showed Joe that nothing went on. This caused him to smirk slightly. Man, I don't feel up for it. Matt looked at me quickly and then looked at Joe for his response. I smiled at the fact that Matt didn't want to go out with another girl, but wiped the smile off my face when Joe glared at me. We're going, Matt, Joe stated through clenched teeth. Fine, I'll see you soon, Wayne. I nodded my head, watching both Joe and Matt leave, and then I sighed my seat. What to do now, I think, looking at my phone, which is sitting on my desk. I smile and then call Leah. What's up, girl? She questions straight away. We're going out. Alright, that was really fun. So I'm gonna put these 3 chapters into one video and post it, and I'm gonna make a couple other videos with a couple other stories, and I'm planning to upload a couple chapters of A Guardian Angel too. And if I don't get all these recordings up tonight, then I will get them up the day I get my computer back. So I love each and every one of you guys. Please don't forget to always be yourself. You are valid, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!